What's up, guys? Today it's not clickbait, but I'm going to talk about the Rockman first because that's why I'm doing this. If you're looking for a Rockman, I would stay away from every Rockman except the Model 2, which is the first one from back in '85, or the X100. The new ones that Dunlap make, they're garbage. I wouldn't take one if somebody was giving it to me. And the Soloist, that's another one that is complete garbage to me. Maybe to you it's not, but to me it is. This is the cable we're going to be making here. 1/4-inch stereo. This is going to be an adapter, okay? So you got a TRS stereo, and then it reduces down to the 1/8 inch to 3.5 millimeter for those across the pond. You're going to need a set of RCA cables. A pair of audio ones will do you. And then you're going to need some TRS male to female RCA, which I'll show you in a minute. So this is your guitar. It's going to go into the input of your Rockman. And then the phones is a stereo. So you got a left and a right coming out. That's that little 1/8 inch to 3.5 mil. And then you have the RCAs over here. Now, these days, mixers don't really come with RCAs. It's all 1/4 inch or XLR. So you plug in this little 1/8 inch into the phones, you're coming out, and then you're going into the mixer, such as channel 1 and 2 here. And that's the way you would connect the Rockman up so you can listen to your studio monitors. The other thing you can do is there is a low-level output. It's 1/4 inch. But it has to be stereo. So that's where it would go into the Rockman, out of the Rockman, and then you have it split into the two mono TRS jacks. And you would go to the input of each amp, or you would go to the return to bypass the preamp of the amplifiers. That's something people don't talk about with these Rockmans and how to hook it up. The other thing you can do is take the guitar and you plug it in. You can take a mono cable here, and then if you pull it out one, what it's basically doing is on a stereo cable you have tip, ring, sleeve. So if you pull it out, you're actually connecting the ring, and then the sleeve is connected, and that will give you full chorus sound. Then you can just go into the input of your amplifier where your guitar would plug in, or if you have an FX loop, you would go into the return, and you'd get the full chorus. Because if you don't, it's going to lower the level as it says here in the instructions. So now let's take a look at all the parts we're going to be using. Alright, so the parts you're going to need a nice long set of RCA cables. This happens to have the video, and my intention on this one is basically just to run the mono. I'll discuss later on in the video why I decided to do it this way, but if you just want to make a left and a right channel, you get yourself a long set of RCA cables. You're going to have to cut the end off of this end. As you can see, this one's already done. I lost the footage I first shot. You're going to need, if you're not doing the 3 of these, you're going to need 2 TRS 1/4 inch mono cables to RCA. You're going to need 1 stereo TRS cable to 1/8 inch or 3.5 millimeter. And you're going to need, of course, a 1/8 inch stereo cable, which you can see is already connected. So let's take a look at how this goes together. So you're going to slip some heat shrink tubing on. I like to come down here with the smaller stuff and then put the bigger stuff over so it can incorporate all 3 wires. Alright, so we got red to white and red to white. All because, you know, somebody that manufactured the 1/8 inch jack, they fucked it up. And I've seen a lot of other people, you know, make the same mistake where they're putting red because they think red is power. No, red is right. It's always the right channel. It does not indicate power. White is left. That's why the RCAs, when you put them into the TV, it's white left, right red. So if you got a jack and you're doing this, it should really be white to white, red to red, and then shield to shield. And we're going to go ahead, check this with the continuity meter, make sure that we have the correct channels going to the correct places. All right, so continuity. This should be the left channel tip, and you can clearly see it's on the red. If we switch to the white, you hear that beeping. Now the ring, that should be red, which is the right channel. Switch to the red, and you can hear that. Now, this is the sleeve, this is the ground. So if we touch both red and white on the outer parts here of that, they should beep. And it does, so we'll move to the white. Now that is wired correctly. We can go on and heat shrink all these wires up, move on to the yellow. All right, so all I did is add some heat shrink. I'm gonna go ahead, also add some electrical tape, and then put the other heat shrink on. All right, so once you got that heat shrinked up, make sure, you know, if you did any tugging on it, and even if you didn't, check the continuity, make sure left and right is right, make sure your grounds are right so you don't have any, you know, problems when you go to plug it in. Now we'll move on to the mono side. So once you got that crimped, just close it up and you're done. Just check continuity, make sure you do the sleeve and the tip, which we will do in a moment. Okay, so just to run through this, we will touch this sleeve and this sleeve, being that this is the mono one. So we got continuity there, and now we'll do the tip on that one. So we got good continuity, we know the cable is good, and now all that's left is take your TRS RCA, and you can stick it onto here, use it as a mono, or you can take the two of them and stick it on as stereo. You got 3 cables, left, right, and mono all in one. Okay, last but not least, we take our adapter, the 1/4 inch, we put the 1/8 inch into it, and we're gonna go ahead and test for continuity on ground across all of them. So we'll go ground on white and then red. All right, we got ground onto there. Now we'll move to red. Good, and then we'll go to the tip on red. That should be the ring here. We shouldn't get nothing there, and we don't. We'll go over to the white. And that is good. So we know left and right channel on the adapter coincides with the 1/8 inch. The other thing I was thinking about doing was actually using another 1/8 inch TSR, connecting it in here, and the way, if you wanted to run it mono, you wouldn't have to pull it out. You would run like on this yellow one here, the way I did it here. It's just an instrument cable, really. So you would take the insulation and you would go to ground over here on the TSR 1/8 inch, and then that would transfer over to here on the 1/4 inch adapter. But being that this red wire is the left channel, you would connect it to the ring, and then you would just leave the white one off and have nothing there. But I'm not quite sure how the schematic on the Rockmans are, so I figured, fuck it, I'll just make it this way. And the only reason I did do this and not just use a separate instrument cable is because these are already bound together, and I figured, fuck it, might as well use that. So that's gonna wrap this one up.